Hey guys, I'm just gonna wait until more people come and watch before I start the live stream. So I'm just gonna sit here and wait for a review what I have to say. Hopefully somebody joins me in a couple minutes. Seems like live stream around this time doesn't seem to pick up very many people. What? One person. I'm just waiting for more people to join, so hold tight, I guess. One minute. Okay, I'll wait 2 minutes and I'll just start it, I guess. And if people don't come, people don't come. Oh, 6 people watching me. Okay. Hey guys, how's it going? I have some news to tell you guys. So I went on Namaste MD and I applied for basically a medical cannabis license, medical patients anyways, and then I told them to direct me to Aurora, so they sent all my information to Aurora. I called Aurora up this morning and then they sent me an email regarding saying that once I'm approved, it'll take about 1 to 5 business days for me to be approved, and then once that happens, basically I can start ordering from Aurora. Maybe no, I'm not gonna do any reviews, but yeah, it's cool. Legalization could come July 1st for me. You know, that's funny. So, anyways, I signed up to something called Aurora Illumination series. It's a day just before my birthday, so I was like, why not? Let's see if I get in for fun. But yeah, hopefully I get in. That could be a fun night or event or whatever. So, and it's free too, so can't really lose on that, right? Before I have a video to show you guys, let's go back to live stream, see if any. 9 people watching me. Okay. AMD had a really nice rise today. I don't think anyone here probably invests in AMD. Anybody watching my live stream anyways? Pot pussy life. Yeah, that's not appropriate. I should have said no. I'm surprised it rose up so fast in such a short time. Like, if it's been 2 months and it's already like 1711. It touches all-time high of 1734. Yeah, that's... You know what I think could happen? It could keep rising all the way to 20 bucks. And then when the report comes out, even if it's good, it might crash. Because I've seen that before with Nvidia, where Nvidia was already running like so high. And then they came out with like excellent numbers, beating revenue, beating EPS, beating like everything. And the stock still dropped like 10% the next day. So, I mean, it's possible that the stock could run up really high, and then when the reports come out, it could just massively drop. But I don't know. It's just a prediction. Yeah, I bought like 1,000 shares of AMD at $10, but then I sold it out for Namaste, so I lost out on that. Okay, so I have a video for you guys why cannabis should become legalized. I saw this video last night, and if anybody's interested, they should like watch. So,
argument number 1. In the last few decades, marijuana has been engineered to become much more potent. Today, marijuana is so potent that it's actually a strong drug that may cause psychosis. The main active ingredient of marijuana is THC, and there's strong evidence that THC is related to psychosis, regardless of other risk factors. Marijuana also contains a substance called CBD that seems to counteract this effect. It's even being tested as a treatment against psychosis and anxiety. But because it doesn't make you high, growers have gradually decreased the amount of CBD in marijuana over the last few decades while increasing THC levels. Sample testing showed that THC levels have risen from around 4% in the 1990s to nearly 12% in 2014, shifting the ratio of THC to CBD from 1 to 14 in 1995 to about 1 to 80 in 2014. It's unclear how precise those tests were, however. Overall, recent findings suggest that the more marijuana you consume and the stronger it is, the higher your risk of developing psychosis. But how high is the risk of psychosis for the general population? A study from Britain found that while marijuana use has risen significantly between 1996 and 2005, the number of schizophrenia cases, a type of psychosis, remained stable. The risk of marijuana-induced psychosis remains the highest for people who already have a high risk of psychosis to begin with. For them, it seems more likely that marijuana speeds up the development of their condition rather than causing it, as far as we know right now. So the reasoning goes, if fewer people have access to marijuana, the lower the risk of marijuana-induced psychosis. But actually, you could argue that precisely because marijuana is illegal, more people will end up with psychosis. Prohibition makes illegal drugs stronger and more potent because this way you can ship more product in a smaller space and sell it at a greater profit. This is what happened during the prohibition of alcohol in the US, where hard liquor became the norm. And the same is happening with marijuana now. Imagine a world where liquor is the only alcohol available. You have the choice of either not drinking at all or getting much drunker than you would like to. This is the situation for many marijuana smokers today. People didn't stop drinking during Prohibition, and the numbers show that laws don't deter people from using marijuana. We can't make marijuana go away, but we can make it safer. If marijuana were legal, there would be more options for consumers, and regulators could, for example, insist on a high level of CBD. Just like most people don't drink an after-work bottle of vodka, many people would gladly consume the after-work beer version of marijuana. Argument 2. Marijuana is a gateway drug. If it's legalized, there will be a spike in the use of much more dangerous drugs. A 2015 study found that about 45% of lifelong marijuana users took some other illegal drug at some point. Legalizing marijuana could reinforce this trend. As more young people try legal marijuana, they might end up trying harder drugs. But it turns out that the real gateway to drug use comes much earlier: cigarettes. One study showed that teens who started smoking before the age of 15 were 80% more likely to use illegal drugs than those who didn't. And a 2007 study found that teenagers between 12 and 17 who smoked were 3 times more likely to binge drink, 7 times more likely to have used drugs like heroin or cocaine, and were also 7 times more likely to resort to marijuana. But if that's the case, how could making more drugs legal stop the use of hard drugs? At first, it's important to acknowledge that people don't use drugs because they're legal or not. If you want to buy any drug, you'll always find someone happy to sell. The real question is, why do people develop an unhealthy relationship with drugs at all? Studies show that certain conditions make people especially vulnerable to drugs and addiction. A difficult childhood, early trauma, low social status, depression, even genetic factors. Which drug they get addicted to is more often than not a matter of chance. Addicts take drugs to escape their problems, but drugs don't solve any of those problems and instead become a new problem. But punishing people for their unhealthy coping mechanisms doesn't change anything about the underlying causes either. So some argue we need to take a completely different route. In 2001, Portugal had one of the worst drug problems in Europe, so it was desperate enough to try something radical. Possession and use of all illegal drugs was decriminalized. You would no longer be arrested. Instead, authorities launched a major health campaign. People who were found with a small amount were referred to support services and got help with treatment and harm reduction. Drug use was seen as a chronic disease, not a crime. The results were stunning. The number of people who tried drugs and kept using them fell from 44% to 28% by 2012. The use of hard drugs decreased, as well as HIV and hepatitis infections and overdoses. Making drugs legal might overall help society much more than it harms it. Argument number 3. Marijuana is addictive and unhealthy. It needs to remain illegal to keep harm at a minimum. While marijuana addiction is more psychological than physical, it is still a real problem. The demand for treatment for marijuana addiction has more than doubled in the past decade alone. In total, about 10% of people who try marijuana will become addicted. This is also related to higher THC levels. A study released in 2017 tracked the potency of marijuana in Dutch coffee shops over a period of 16 years. For every 1% increase in THC, 60 more people entered treatment nationwide. In terms of negative health effects, some studies linked marijuana use to increased blood pressure and lung problems, while a 2016 study found that marijuana use was unrelated to physical health problems, except for a higher risk of gum disease. Some studies showed that marijuana use alters teenagers' brains and decreases their intelligence, but when more recent studies took drinking and smoking into account, the results were inconclusive. Overall, research shows that taking any drugs while the brain is still in development is bad for you. But the truth is, we don't know yet how unhealthy marijuana is. We need more funding for research, which is hard to get while marijuana remains illegal. We can put what we know into perspective, though. 16% of people who consume alcohol become alcoholics, and 32% of people who try cigarettes become smokers. We know for sure alcohol affects your brain, destroys your liver and causes cancer, while tobacco clogs your arteries, destroys your lungs and also causes cancer. 3.3 million people die from alcohol abuse each year, while smoking kills more than 6 million people. Nobody is suggesting tobacco and alcohol are harmless just because they're legal. Also, nobody is seriously proposing to prohibit them, even though they are extremely dangerous. Legality is a way to exercise some control over them, especially when it comes to protecting young people. It's often much harder to buy legal drugs for teenagers than to buy illegal ones. Official sellers can get hefty fines and lose their license if they sell to underage kids. Legality creates incentives here that drug dealers can't exploit. So making marijuana legal doesn't mean endorsing it. It means taking responsibility for the risks it poses. It could also open the floodgates to tons of new research that shows us how harmful it really is and to whom. Conclusion. Marijuana is a drug, and just like any other drug, it has negative consequences for a sizable portion of the people who use it. It is not harmless. The best way to protect society from its negative consequences seems to be legalization and regulation. Thanks to our partnership with
See guys, legalization is something that I think will happen eventually around the world. I don't even know why it's illegal in the first place, but whatever. This is basically the map of wherever cannabis has been legal. Like, have you noticed that there's lots of non-blues? Blues mean that it's basically legal in those small areas, but one day I would like to see this entire map all blue. 10 years. I'm hoping in 10 years it's all blue, and I'm hoping Aurora becomes the #1 company out there that that taps most of these markets. So that's my hope. I don't know if it'll happen, but I'm sure they have to shit with Canopy, because Canopy's not going away anytime soon. And yeah, but then again, there could be a US company that comes out and dominates these Canadian companies. So there's lots of risks in investing in marijuana, but I believe it's a big market. It's a vast market. There's a lot of money to be made in this industry. So I can't really see going wrong investing in one of the top companies in the industry, Canopy, Afira, Aurora. You just can't go wrong investing in these companies. Delusion or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just the shares are cheaper. It looks cheaper if there's more shares of a company, and then more people will buy it. So at the end of the day, look, if you look at Canopy right now and you see like $40 price tag, right? You go and you're like, I don't know if I want to buy something that's $40. But when you look at Aurora, you're like, oh, it's $9. I'd rather buy something that's $9 than something that's $40. So I don't know. It's just it's kind of like a mind game. Even if you knew about market cap, it doesn't matter. You see that $40 price tag or that $50 or that $100 price tag, it makes you want to not buy it even more. So that's how I see things. I don't know too much about Afira, but I can go to the investor relations if you want. See how long this video has been. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? I'm just talking about that the world will be legal. The entire world eventually will be legal, and investing in a big company is the best way to make money, because it's, I don't know. So, and I'm talking about Canopy. Like, I'm talking about Canopy's price tag, $40. Like, at $40, like honestly, when most people look at this $40 price tag, they just don't want to buy it. But when you look at like something like a dollar price tag, you get a little scared. But then when you look at like $5, $6, $7 price tag, it makes, I think it's the comfortable zone of between $5 to $15 is like a comfortable zone for most people. And then like when it goes to like $100, $200, people get nervous. And then when it goes to like $1,000, nobody really wants to buy it. No normal investor wants to buy that anyways. That's what I'm talking about. So the higher this looks, the scarier it is for I'm not talking about like people who know what they're doing. I'm talking about the average investor. Okay. There's lots of negativity about Namaste. Yeah, Namaste is kind of depressing. I'm not saying it's not. And they need a sales license, and Health Canada's not giving it to them. So, and hey, Namaste MD exists. I got my medical card through. I got to be a medical patient through Namaste MD, and I didn't even have to leave my house. They did everything on the internet, so I thought that was kind of cool. Okay, okay, first of all, you have to realize that Namaste, they raised money at $2.55. So they already got a good amount of money raised at $2.55. Now they have to use that money that they raised to grow the company. So at the end of the day, you're taking the risk of Namaste's management growing the company. If the management fails to grow the company, that's the risk you take for buying into Namaste. At least this is my opinion. I'm not telling you guys that I'm right or I'm wrong. This is just my opinion. This is my fact. You guys can argue all you want if I'm right, I'm wrong, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. If the lower it goes, buy it. I don't know, but at this point, you guys are probably paranoid because most of you probably bought it already, and the stock's still declining, and you don't know if it'll like dip below $1 or not. So, yeah, Namaste will get the license. I think so. I mean, I just got my medical license through them, right? I got my medical patient license for them. So, they're real. I bought a product from them. So, that's real. I mean, like, they're a real company. They're a real business. At the end of the day, it's up to the rich people, the institutional investors, to make that stock rise. So, and the more exposure they have, like, you guys are, I mean, like, the investors are also helping them, but, I mean, I don't know. Who cares if you broke your pledge? That pledge, I think that pledge was like experiment for them to see how many people were actually interested. So, see how long it's been. 22 minutes. I don't know what else to talk about. How was your experience buying Namaste product? I'll make a video on that. It has nothing to do with institutional investor and everything to do with how they are going to attract customers in the future and turning revenues and earnings. Well, institutional investors are the guys that have money. They're the guys that are really gonna pump up the stock. The rich people, the institutional investors, the banks, those are the guys that are gonna pump up the stocks. So Namaste has to show that, hey, we're doing a good job. We're making money. We're saying what we're telling investors what we're doing. Like we're not lying to investors, and things are happening in this company. As long as they can prove that they're doing a good job, eventually the stock will go up. But the sales license is a big part of it, because until the government approves them of a sales license, they're not going to go up, because investors want guarantees. They want, hey, we got our sales license. Okay, now we're a proven company that can make money off cannabis. Okay, now people like institutional investors and rich people and banks will start buying Namaste, and the stock will rise. But at the end of the day, it's still okay, well, my video has been long enough. I don't think anyone has anything that they want me to talk about, so I'm gonna go now. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for future updates. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you dislike this video, please give me a thumbs down. Subscribe for future updates, and have a great day. Bye.